You were a star child, let your light shine for all the world. When you open your mouth to reveal a pearl, let it shine more, just to light the path. If it don't add up, man, just do the math. If it ain't for you, let it pass on through. How you doing? This is Terrion Wilson, aka your boy, Brotha T, here with another one. So this channel is called T's Life Tree, and on this channel we like to drop you little pine cones of wisdom. And if you don't know what a pine cone of wisdom is, hang around, stay on the channel, you'll get it. Okay, so today we're gonna explore 5 ways to tell if you're more attractive than you think you are. All right, so unfortunately, a lot of us walk around with a little bit of low self-esteem, a little bit of low self-confidence, low self-worth. Some of us have low racial esteem even, okay? And we really don't know. We walk around kind of oblivious. We form a little bubble around ourselves and we put limitations on who we are and how we think. In doing that, sometimes you block out good energies that's coming in, and some of that good energy could be somebody that is more attracted to you than you think they are. So here are 5 signs that you may have missed walking around in everyday life that points to you being more attractive than you thought you were. First, let me tell a story before I get into the 5 things. A little short story. Okay, so I used to play basketball. Okay, it was in high school, but it wasn't for the high school team necessarily. I used to play like rec leagues and stuff like that. It was serious league. We played serious ball, and I think we used to play 30-40 games a year. So we got to a point where we got cheerleaders, right? And these cheerleaders, man, they were nice looking. Let me tell you, they were woof. Okay. Yeah, I had a flashback for a minute. You got to give me a second sometimes, man. I get into these zones. I have a very vivid imagination, and they were nice looking. So, so it was a few of them. And I used to notice sometimes that they used to look at me, but they wouldn't say anything. Like, okay. And it used to be more than one. And you get looks. Like, I used to be thinking like, okay, maybe they just think I look funny or something, or maybe there's something about me, right? If they didn't like or something, that sometimes your mind automatically goes to that when you're not in your self-confidence, self-esteem mode. And I didn't have high self-esteem at the time, right? And I'm not saying I'm like the best looking guy in the world. I'm not saying that I attract everybody I want to attract, but I'm saying maybe I was a little bit more attractive than I thought I was, right? And what solidified that for me? When did I come to that conclusion? Years later, one of those cheerleaders came to me, or we passed each other, maybe. I'm not sure. I think it was in passing, right? We hadn't seen each other in years, man. And I remember we were talking and catching up, and wow, you look great, and oh yeah, you look good too. And she just mentioned to me, she said, you know what? When I was cheerleading, I used to think that you were the most handsome guy, or I just thought you were so cute, and I wanted to talk to you, and you just wouldn't say anything to me. And my friend, she liked you too. Those were the 2 I remember staring at me, right? So that ties into the 5 things, because the first thing is people stare at you. All right, so and I told that story just so it can tie in, right? And that was a true story, by the way. And she even said she named her son like after me. And that was weird because we never did anything, but I'll leave that alone. I'll believe her because she really looked like she was serious when she said it. That's a little weird, but we'll leave that alone. Okay. If people are staring at you, that could go both ways, right? It could be because you are butt ugly, right? But that's not always the case. And if you find that throughout the day, you find numerous people staring at you, and you're putting your best foot forward, you're dressed nice, you're smelling nice, you're looking nice, you have a good personality, and people are still staring at you wherever you go, you always find somebody kind of peeping to look, and then when you look, they look the other way and stuff like that. You might be a little more attractive than you might think, right? Okay. And like I said, sometimes people stare at stuff they don't like either, but it's a different kind of stare, and you'll notice it through life. Even if people are unattractive, they're not going to get stared at all the time unless they just unless they're just really not taking care of themselves. All right, so that's the first one. Now, the next one. The next one is going to be related. It's almost the exact opposite you might think, right? But people scowl at you. They look at you. They think they're the stuff. If you get a lot of that too, you might be more attractive than you think. Now, you might want to argue with me and say, how in the world could those be the same thing? Well, let me explain. Sometimes people who have a lower self-worth for themselves, they'll see you and they'll say, this person is so attractive and I really want to be with them, but I know if I approach, they're going to turn me down because I don't have confidence in myself. So I'm mad about that. So let me scowl at this person and look at this person with the mean face, even though inside I really want to be with this person. Right? And sometimes they'll say mean things about you, even behind your back, when they really like you, right? And this is put on full display, like in school, right? Sometimes they used to say when a little boy messed with you enough, that meant he liked you. You know what I mean? It kind of goes into that. As adults, sometimes we still embody some of the same energy as we did when we were younger. So people will scowl at you too. Some of those people think you are attractive, believe it or not. Okay, so the next thing, the third clue, people, they're gonna flirt with you all the time. Now, flirting can go all kind of ways, because you're going to say, it's obvious they think I'm attractive. They flirting with me openly, but there are subtle ways to flirt as well. And what I mean by subtle ways of flirting, they might giggle when they're around you for some reason. You might tell stale jokes and they laugh at it, right? And you're thinking like, this is the only person that laughs at my stale jokes. That person is probably attracted to you, right? If they're always messing with you, they're always kind of picking at you a little bit, they might be attracted to you and not telling you, right? So you might be attracted, especially if you get multiple people doing that all the time around you, but they're not being forthcoming, then they might find you attractive and they just don't want to approach you. So they get kind of giggly around you and they're kind of jumpy and they're flirting in those ways. They're giggling. You might say something that was halfway corny. Nobody laughs but this person, and they'll take their hand and hit you on the shoulder like you so crazy. Yeah, they might think you attractive. Now that's not 100% all the time, but trust me, there might be something there. You might want to check into that one. Okay, so the next one, and you might think this one's a little weird, because a lot of times when you are attractive, you will get compliments, right? Especially from people who are confident enough to give you compliments. But also, if you don't get a lot of compliments, you might be more attractive than you think. And you might want to argue with me. I want you to listen to my rationale on this one. Okay, so if you go through life and you're putting your best foot forward, once again, you're looking good, you're smelling good, you're taking care of yourself, you have a great personality, and you never get compliments, then sometimes that goes back to those people that have a lower self-confidence. Sometimes they'll look at it and they'll say, well, I don't want to give them this compliment because I know already that they're getting enough compliments. Some of you out there saying, what is he talking about? Trust me, it's a thing, especially when we look at it from males to females. Okay, so a male, sometimes when he has a female that's really, 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 really attractive, like a 9, 10, and he thinks of himself as a 6, 7, some of those guys will have the confidence to approach. Those are guys that just are confident, or maybe they just have game or think they have game, right? But some guys will be like, well, I'm not going to approach because I know she's on a certain level. I'm on a certain level. I know she's going to reject me. You get what I'm saying? That happens. So if you don't get those compliments a lot and you're looking good, but I'm like, what are my compliments? They're there. They're just afraid to give them to you, right? And you might be a little more attractive than you think. Don't think you're not attractive just because you're not getting compliments, is my point. Okay, so the very last one, and this one's going to be kind of one that you didn't see coming either. People will be intimidated by you. And I have to break this one down, of course, because there's different traits about you that might be intimidating to other people. One thing is what I mentioned before, are looks, right? So if you're a 10, he's a 6, your looks might intimidate him or her. Okay, so that might that might lead them to not approach you or keep themselves away from you in a certain way, right? And you might be thinking like, I must be unattractive because people seem intimidated when they're around me. They might be intimidated because you're so attractive, right? And another way, let's flip it. All right, let's say you're a guy. One way you can intimidate women, if it's not your looks, is sometimes your knowledge. Knowledge is very intimidating, especially if I'm a person and I don't have or I think I don't have enough knowledge, especially on a certain subject, and somebody is very advanced with their knowledge on that subject or in broad, right? That might intimidate me. All right, so I might be a little bit more standoffish to the person who has the knowledge. It'll seem like people are not attracted to you, but they just may be, but they might be intimidated by the way you speak or the way you research and the way you always bringing out information. You seem to know a lot about a lot of subjects. I'm speaking from experience, right? Because not to say I'm the stuff like that, but I know I do a lot of reading. I do a lot of information gathering. I do a lot of research. I take in data. I remember. Sometimes I have a mind like a steel trap when it comes to information, and I can dispense it. You know, sometimes it's in there and I don't think it's there. Somebody hits a switch, they'll start talking about a subject and it comes pouring out because it's in there. You know what I mean? I can't help that sometimes. That's just part of that's just part of what makes me tick, right? But I do, and I've had to recognize over the years that this can be intimidating, especially to a person that don't deem themselves as intellectual, if you're sounding intellectual about something. So sometimes if I'm talking to certain people and I know they're not catching the speed at which I'm talking, sometimes I'll slow it down for that person, or I'll start to use examples in order to illustrate what I'm trying to say, and that seems to help as well. But I do recognize that, okay? I do recognize that. So knowledge can be intimidating, looks can be intimidating, having your stuff together can be intimidating. If you're a man or a woman, if you just totally got your stuff together and then this person doesn't, that can be intimidating for that person. Doesn't mean that they don't find you attractive just because they're not approaching. It's just because they have a lower self-confidence to approach you because they're like, well, they got that stuff together and I really don't, right? So, so those are 5 signs that could possibly tell you that you're a little bit more attractive than you might think. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, I want you to subscribe. I want you to like. I want you to share. I want you to do all that good stuff. I want you to comment whether you agree with me or not. I'm open to the conversation. This is your man, Brotha T, and I'll see you on the next video. I gotta go. Peace.